Welcome to episode 35 of Venti Questions, the show with friends, coffee, and conversation. My name's Michael.
And I'm Chris. And today we are talking about cloning.
Yep, that's correct.
Uh-huh. Is it ethical?
I mean, debatable.
Yeah. Is it science?
I mean, pseudoscience and also science, depending on how we're looking at it.
It's definitely science fiction, and there are a bunch of cool movies with it in there. But we're going to be
There's also
discussing.
some really creepy movies in there.
There are. And we'll be discussing all of it.
So make sure you listen all the way to the end to find out what our opinion is.
What's new with you?
Not that much. To be completely and totally honest, it's been just kind of like a boring week, which is nice. I've been able to catch up a little bit on sleep.
That's good.
Which sounds like, oh, wow, super awesome. But honestly, I just really needed it.
Sleep's important.
Yeah, you know, some say it's the most important thing. But yeah, so I did have a couple cool things though over this past week. I looked into something that might be a little bit surprising for you.
Okay.
I looked into how to create a gaming convention.
Okay.
I've mentioned now for multiple weeks how frustrated I am with the goings on with the current year's MegaCon and their pathetic offerings and overall organization of how they're doing their tabletop RPGs. Mm-hmm. And so me and John Boy were talking and just like, you know, we should just, you know, make our own little like small event, you know, like maybe for like, you know, 20, 25 people, charge like, you know, $10-15, have it be like just like a 1 day thing and just like have a, you know, 3 or 4 like tables going the whole time, you know, just something simplistic. And then it was just like, yeah, and then like got quiet for like 5 minutes. We're both just like in our own minds thinking about it. And we're like, it's actually probably a pretty good idea. We could probably look into that if nothing else. So I looked into it. It's actually not that difficult. And because of where we live, Central Florida,
yeah,
the location plethora is insane.
Okay.
So basically what it comes down to is just being able, the biggest and most important thing is finding a place, right? And yeah, looking up online and all those kind of things, you know, a lot of places I recommend are like, you know, any of those like lodges type places, or any of like the like veteran affair like lodge type places, or like the Freemason things, because a lot of times they'll rent out like their little room, like, for like pennies to the dollar compared to like going to like a hotel. They're
trying to get some income in because it's just empty most of the time.
Exactly. And it's like, if you're trying to do, like I said, let's say there's like 20 people, that's easy to do in like a good like size room like that.
Yeah.
You know? So it's something we're actually considering doing, but it wouldn't be until like, you know, multiple years from now. It's one of those, you know, come up with some ideas and look into it and then like, you know, reassess and things of that nature.
You're going to start a club, you know?
Club?
It's a club.
You're so weird.
Why am I weird? That's what people do. They start clubs.
No, it'd be a con.
Do activities. So
it'd be a con.
But when you're renting it out, I mean, how often are you doing it?
Once a year.
That's it?
Yeah. Because it's an annual convention.
You said convention. You say annual convention.
Right, yeah. No, cons are yearly.
Sure.
Yeah. So, because like the way that I would want to do it is I would want to make it so that it eventually got like probably no bigger than maybe like 200 or 300 people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wouldn't want to do it too often because I'd want to make sure that the event itself was actually like well thought out, created for a really like a more high-end experience. A lot of cons, the problem is that even if you have really, really good DMs that typically have like a lot of props to utilize within the game, because of the nature of how it's put together, they don't have all this stuff because they've driven or flown like 8-10 hours from their home, and they don't want to have to carry all that stuff and move all this stuff because they're going to be at this table for 4 hours, but then they're going to be at that table over there, which doesn't seem like a big deal until you have to move like 50 freaking things and you're trying to get around people and you're doing stuff, and it's chaos, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it just comes down to logistics. Like the fact that every single con that I've ever DM'd at, I have never stayed at the same physical table for 2 separate sessions. And that alone is the dumbest thing. Because there's no difference in me running a game here and running a game over there, except for the fact that they just happen to put that particular location over there.
Right.
And it's like, well, why didn't you just look to see if you had a DM that was running 2 games in 2 separate slots, like together, and then just put them at the same table? That way the DM can stay there. Everything's already set up for the next group coming in. It's a quick transition. There's no confusion, and it's more simplistic.
Right.
But they don't. So it's like those types of situations, I feel like fixing that would be a simplistic thing, but also already you're dealing with a much more professional look, right? Because now you're having it so that the person in charge has a little bit more, cocksureness to them. Mm-hmm. And then also they have a plethora of supporting things for the actual game itself. Like
right.
You don't have to have like to scale every single aspects of every single thing that you're playing, but to have some stuff, it does help it look a little bit more like wow factor.
Yeah.
And
I would think that the hardest part would initially would just be getting traction. So marketing, getting the word out initially, because if it's not something that's known in the area yet, the first one's going to be
absolutely the first
toughest.
one was always the hardest. And that's why for that one, like I said, I'd want to do it for like, 10, 20 people.
Right.
And that wouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, I'd say you start off semi-annually, and then it becomes something bigger, and then you just do it annually.
Well, it depends though, because like I see what you're saying, and I could agree with you depending on how the first couple would go.
Sure.
But as far as getting that many people, it really wouldn't be that difficult. Like I'm in 2 Discord servers alone that are just for Central Florida, just for D&D players in Central Florida.
Right.
And so I type one thing and like 600 people have seen it.
Yeah.
I go to all the Coliseum of Comics and just like put up a notice.
Sure.
No big deal. I could go, because I'm quasi in the world, because I used to be like really heavily into like the community for it, but now not so much. Also, I know the brand ambassador for D&D Adventure League for the state of Florida, and then also the Pathfinder lieutenant for the state of Florida, and I can email them and be like, hey guys, this is what I wanted to do. Would you like to participate and perhaps talk to your companies and give us free shit?
Michael's saying is he's a real nerd. So
no, I just happen to know people because I do nerd shit. So I do have a lot of the contacts that would make it a little bit more simplistic. Possibly. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
I have step 1 in the bag is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea if that actually is going to help any, but it's just, hey, cool, step 1.
Right.
The other thing is that part of this conversation also is that now I'm pretty sure that Jonathan and I are going to go to Gamehole Con in October.
Nice.
Wisconsin.
Cool. Yeah, you talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but other than that, it's pretty much all I got. Like I said, sleep and then nerds. So, what about you?
Sleeping nerds. That's it.
Especially when you're doing it with them.
Sleeping with nerds. Cute. Cute. With me, I am growing some bonsai trees. I got a little kit thing in the mail, and I had kind of like everything you need to grow them. So
Very
did it with
cool.
the kid, planted some seeds. There's 3 of them that came in the kit with the pots and soil and everything you need. And I think it's a Brazilian rosewood, blue spruce, and a black spruce. So we'll see how they come. I already got some sprouts. I didn't think I would because I don't know what I'm doing, honestly. I don't have a green thumb. But and I started it when the weather wasn't great, so you have to keep the temperature regulated on some of the seeds, and so I didn't think any of it would work. But actually, I got some sprouts on the Brazilian rosewood, and then I got little sprouts in all of them. But Brazilian rosewood has like 3 or 4 of them already that are coming out and ready to go. So it's interesting. What you have to do apparently is as you get multiple sprouts, you have to decide which one's going to be the strongest, and then you have to, I guess, kill the other ones, pull the other ones out, so it doesn't smother or kill or take the nutrition from the strong one, I guess. So
Interesting.
and then eventually will grow into a tree, because all bonsai, it's just a small tree,
Yeah.
indoor tree.
That's what
You
bonsai
plant
means.
it outside and it becomes bigger, but since it's confined to the pot, it will stay small, and you continue to prune it, trim it, that kind of thing.
Did it say anywhere on your kit how long it's supposed to take from like gestation to like actually having a tree?
So it says it could take 30 to 45 days just to sprout, and it's already sprouted. I think I planted it on the 15th or 16th or something like that.
So it's been like 10, 15 days.
And
yeah.
it's already
No, not even like 10 days.
So what I do know is the size of kind of ones that are established are like 4 years old.
Oh, okay.
So it takes time.
What I might do is I might grab a couple little pots and like, instead of you tossing, I'll like steal some.
The little sprouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing
That'd be
else. I mean, why not? You know?
Yep.
No, that's really cool, man. There's been multiple times that I've been very, very tempted while hanging out at the Japanese pavilion in Epcot to get some of those.
Yeah.
'Cause they have some really nice little things there. And then you're like, you get into it and then you go online and you're like, oh my God, there's like everything.
Yes.
So
And there's so many little starter kits you can get, even on Amazon. Like, there's so many companies that do that thing, and you get all the little tools and everything you need to. So, it was more difficult than I thought it would be, just because I don't really plant anything. So I'm not really sure how to do certain things and temperature of soil. I was supposed to use like a heating pad for like one of them because this one particular one, I believe it's the black spruce, you needed to keep it at a certain temperature between like, I don't know, 75 to 85 degrees or something like that. And I was like, oh, didn't do that, but it still did one little sprout. So if I would have done it the correct way, I didn't like read everything through. I just kind of, how hard could it be? You just plant it, you stick the seeds in, but like there's a method to the madness there. So.
yeah. Botany is extremely difficult for some things. Like I've known people that have tried to like grow particular plants for like years and like failed every single time.
Right.
And I'm just like, I like gardening to a certain level, but only like perennials and like super simplistic things outside because I don't want to deal with all that craziness.
I don't have the patience usually.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I'm trying this, because I think it's an exercise in patience, and you get that reward, that the payoff, and it'd be cool to be like grow it from nothing and then have it for years, because these things will last forever.
They can last for like decades and decades. Yeah.
You take care of them. Yeah. Replant them, soil, kind of thing.
Right.
Fertilizer, So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Something different.
So I got some little fun questions that have to do with thought process is of cloning.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of is.
you cloned that is.
I did, and it just kept coming over and over and over. So here's a little fun one. Would you rather have the power to clone yourself or the power of time travel?
Time travel.
Okay. Why? Because you thought about it for a second.
Yeah, because cloning myself doesn't mean it's myself. So it's possibly another being with another consciousness. With time travel, I can go whenever I want, essentially, right? So I can, you could essentially live forever in some weird way. You can live an eternity in your lifetime, I guess you can say, because you can go to the beginning, you can go to the end,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
kind of go where you can
saying.
go where you want, and see everything you need and whatever it is, and even perhaps change events in the world. So I think there's just more to do. There's more power. Or else what? You clone yourself, and then you as yourself dies, but your clone carries on. So it's not really you, right?
I mean, if you're looking at it in that regard,
Okay.
I think when most people think about cloning themselves, they're like, okay, cool, I'd clone myself and send my clone to work, and then I'd be able to not work. That's how most people think of clones. They use them as basically like
slaves.
Yeah.
Like multiplicity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve.
Never seen it, but yeah. I know. We've had this conversation many times. It's not that I don't want to see it. I love Michael Keaton. I just never happened to see that movie. I don't know. I feel like I would have to ask a lot of particulars about like, okay, how does the cloning work in your system? All right, what are the options here? But if I was just answer the damn question, yeah, I'd probably go time travel. But if I got all the specifics,
I can do both with time travel. I can go to the future where cloning is regularly available and then do that too.
Yeah. Because like there's some that there's some versions of cloning in different oh my gosh, can't think of the word. Universes, not universes. Lore, sure. Where like whatever the clone does, the original also gets like the knowledge from it.
I think like the 6th Day, Arnold, right?
Is that one?
Yeah, I think he sees like you don't know who's the real one and who's the clone, and like that's like the twist in the movie kind of.
Oh, that's not what I'm talking about.
But but like they have memories of the other life or whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's multiple animes that I've watched where the clone does its own thing and the host doesn't know anything that's going on until the clone dies, and then whoosh, all the information is put back. And I've also read a couple books that are like that as well. And so it's kind of cool because the clone is self-aware. It knows it's a clone. It just also knows that's what its job is supposed to be, is to like go and get like intel, and then it's like, oh shit, to be able to go and like give it, because when it kills itself or dies, it doesn't actually like a body just falls, like because it's like a power type situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. But in that regard, oh my gosh, I would take cloning.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Enroll like 50 different versions of myself into different like programs and school systems and all kinds of crap, and then just like wait.
Yep.
That would be awesome. But like I said, on the surface level of just a sentence without any more information, I would take time travel.
Yeah.
Do you think that cloning should be used to bring back extinct species, a la Jurassic Park?
Yeah. That's
non-dinosaurs.
Yeah, I was gonna say. It's interesting because they're usually extinct for a reason.
Fair.
So I don't know what that would do to the natural order of things, of how, predators, right? Because that's typically what it is. You're bringing back a saber-tooth tiger, or
love that. That's the same thing we're thinking about. Well, remember how they found that one woolly mammoth, totally preserved?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what kind of place they would have. I think that eventually science can get that advanced where, yes, that's going to end up happening. We're going to bring back things that are recently, as long as we have the DNA preserved, we'd be able to do that. I think that'd be interesting. Should we? I don't know. I think it's when you start messing with that, then you never know what's going to be thrown out of whack. But overall, why not? If we can do it, do it.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with you on like the old ones that have been extinct, right? Where it's just like, ooh, this might really disrupt the natural like ecosystem we currently have, and it could have some really bad effects.
Sure.
But something like, let's say, a particular species like pandas,
Sure.
they're very close.
Yeah.
Cloning some of them little schmucks and putting them back where they're supposed to be. Yeah, okay, I don't think that's
Right.
I don't have a problem with that. I think that
Right.
actually could be useful.
Tigers, Siberian tigers, same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
I think more instead of like extinct, like endangered species, I think I'd be all for, like, high fives all around.
Sure.
But extinct ones, ooh.
Yeah, slippery slope.
Yeah, it is. It is. Along the same line, would you be willing to clone your pet if it died?
That's going to be a business one day.
I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Would you partake?
As long as it doesn't like Pet Cemetery, like come back and like eat you. Like it has like this weird thing where like it's not quite itself type thing. That'd be weird. If it was identical even in personality, like disposition, I guess, or temperament,
Mm-hmm.
then it makes sense. But it'd be kind of weird to like, you know, clone my dog like that I know, and I know my dog, and you know your animal and its boundaries, and then like you got to learn that all over again. But it looks exactly the same. But it's like that's not the same thing. You know what I mean? Like that'd be weird. You're like, why is it growling at me? You know, it's like you never growl at me. Why are you growling at me? Kind of thing. Like if it's a completely different personality, I guess that'd be weird. You know, that'd be a little bit strange.
I think the common thought process on cloning,
It's an identical.
it has exactly the same thought.
I know. That's just me thinking the what if. You know?
Right.
I think that'll be a profitable business. People get attached to their animals. They would want to continue to have that animal. The lifespans of animals are very short. So
Most of the more popular ones, yeah, they're pretty darn short when you really consider like
a lifetime.
A lifetime, yeah. There's no amount of like money that you could give me that I would clone Tora.
Okay.
I think it would be disrespectful to Tora.
Yeah, I mean, there's that side of things too.
Right, like that's where I'm like, I don't have a problem with somebody else doing it, and I agree with you.
It will be a business.
Buku monies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
Because then like part of the preciousness of having the animal is that you have the full life cycle.
Life, right?
And
I
think that kind of like meh. Obviously I'm foreshadowing to later stuff, but when we get a little deeper,
yeah.
But no, man, my cat will live and he'll die and then we'll move on.
Yeah.
That's the order of things.
It makes sense for like Hollywood, no, you know. You can make a lot of sequels to animal movies.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that aspect of it. So if you could clone any celebrity, who would it be and why? Mr. Hollywood. Makes you like I think it's creepy, but I would say like
the Olsen twins.
Oh wow. That's very creepy.
Any set of twins, I guess.
You mean quadruplets?
That'd be funny because it's like, how many do you get? Like, how many?
No, I would say like maybe all of our like martial arts stars that we grew up with that we were just found out are all in like
they keep in
early
like a
60s.
chamber. Right. Yeah.
Every 20 years they just like bring out a new version.
Okay, Jet Li's here he is again.
We could get Bruce Lee back.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Get Chuck Norris back to like, being like an age where he actually would be acceptable to see doing stuff.
It'd be interesting.
Little things like that.
I think it'd be like your Arnolds and Stallones and like that kind of thing, because they're gonna die very soon. So
yeah, I know. Gosh,
it's tough.
So sad.
It's sad to think about,
but I don't know. Gosh, if I had to clone a celebrity, okay, you know who I would clone? I would clone Michael Jordan so we can frickin' finish the debate.
Oh, LeBron and Jordan.
Yes.
Yeah, but LeBron's not in his prime anymore.
Then let's frickin' clone them both. They can each coach their own frickin' clone, get their skills up.
Yeah.
And then in 15 years from now, they can go at it.
That's tough. Physically, yes, they'd be the same, but like the experiences are what made them. You know?
Well, that once again, that goes into the whole line of like, what is it that you're actually cloning
Sure.
versus what is it that's nature and nurture
nature
and all that
nurture.
kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about celebrities, man.
I know. I think
really...
that one. I honestly, I wasn't even going to ask you, but you said Hollywood, and I was like, well, I might as well.
Yeah.
All right. So, if you could clone yourself, what tasks would you delegate to your clone? And once again, we're using the thought process of like they're basically your indentured servants.
Sure. I mean, the obvious.
You would never step foot in work again.
It would never go to work. You work. You're bringing home the money, baby.
Oh man,
that's it.
You're bringing home the money, so you get to choose what we eat. That's fair. I'll just eat whatever you decide. But
yeah.
But I run this house.
That'd be tough because it's like I would rather have a robot like a android or something like that.
Possibly that's what your clone is.
Yeah, I mean, so to turn them off at the end of the day, you put them in the closet,
Yeah, you put them to sleep, tuck them in.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Goodbye, clone.
It's such an uncomfortable thing to talk about. Talking about someone like serving you in that way.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you got to look at it in the aspect of for these types of questions. I think you have to put like the mindset of it's totally ethical, it's totally fine, it's socially acceptable, and everybody is okay. You know what I mean? Like for those. When we're actually talking about what we actually feel, obviously that's when you start bringing in the other aspects of things.
Yeah. I mean, I think the obvious is the work thing or, maintaining like the household or something like that.
Yeah. The day-to-day type stuffs.
Sure.
The running of like the household, I think is 100% correct. Or obviously work is number one.
I'd still work too. I think it'd just be the things that I don't want to do. Right.
Oh,
every meeting will be
legitimately my clone would be going out to work. I'd still be doing stuff that eventually would be able to make an income from,
right?
But that freedom of 6 months to a year to be able to build up that aspect to be able to do so while having somebody else bring in the monies, it's pretty nice.
I think I agree with that. I think I would have them work and then I would probably go to school.
Okay.
So there's income coming in. It's my resumes being built, right? That kind of thing. It's all kind of working together. And then I would probably just continue to do different things like that way, like educate,
That's cool.
Yeah.
I guess the last one I'll ask is, if you could clone a historical figure, who would it be and why? So I guess, obviously we're supposed to be talking about cloning, but I think it's just more like if you could just like resurrect. Because like you said, it's all about the experience. So if you could clone somebody and bring them back to who they were like in their prime, I guess, with all of their life experiences.
Jesus.
Why? Do you have a table you need built?
He's a carpenter, man.
That's why I said that.
I don't know if he's any good, but carpenting. I mean, I'm sure that he's the people thing. He's fine.
Yeah. It goes on and on for books and books about how great of a carpenter he is, right?
No, not once.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, huh?
I know. Doesn't have a leg to stand on. Let's see.
Such a great joke for that one.
Yeah,
moving on.
We'll move on. That's a good one. The problem is we've gotten from historical figures. It'd have to be someone in like either philosophy or entertainment, just because it couldn't be in like a scientific mind or something like that, because like we're beyond some of that now. Like, I guess you bring Einstein back and then like expose him to what science is now.
Give him like 2 years to figure it out, and then be like,
he had to catch up and be like, I didn't think of that. And could he add to it? Could he, right?
Depending on how much, like, yeah, like
Everything progresses.
If we bring him back with like at the age of like 20, and so he has like a good portion of his life left to then like reestablish and like go from there. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I don't know. How about you?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, first off, I don't know how I would phrase this. I don't know that many people who are like dead that like I give a crap about. You know what I mean? Like,
history happened.
Historical figure wise,
it already happened. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's just like I don't know.
Because the reason why they're historical figures is because they accomplished something. The goal's been accomplished. They have a legacy. They did a thing. So you bring them back. It's like, what are they gonna do now?
Okay, so this
wait, you did your thing.
This person's not a historical figure. I started thinking about celebrities.
Oh boy,
and I was just like, maybe Chester from Linkin Park. Somebody, it's just like, all right, bring him back. Give him some help.
Yeah, if we could do it to help him, sure. Yeah. He's like, why did you bring me back?
Dude, I freaking left. But no, cause it's just like, because obviously there are certain celebrities that are like, could be considered like historical figures. Like you have like someone like James Dean, who is thought of like that, or like a Jimi Hendrix type person.
He's an interesting character.
I don't care about either of them.
Hendrix is interesting. He couldn't read music. Right. He doesn't even know what notes he's playing. He made a lot of mistakes in order to get certain sounds and do certain things. And like he was just one of those, like, he just went with it. He just
from my understanding is that he was good at what he was good at, but outside of what he was good at, he was crap.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that he even admitted.
No. Yeah, and I'm not trying to down him at all. It's just that like he liked a certain type of sound and he liked certain things, and when he came up with something on his own, it was like really, really good. But if you use like traditional type things, if you said like, "Hey, play a C chord," he'd be like, "What?"
Exactly. He was creative. He could create things. And he just went with the feel just by how it would sound, and then like,
it's like
be able to, right? Exactly. Yeah.
It's the difference for some people. Some people are just gifted where they can hear a piece of music, and then they close their eyes for like 2 or 3 seconds, and they go, "Okay," and then they can play it, and it's just like, what?
Right.
You're a freaking tape recorder. But yeah, no, I've seen some interviews, where other like musicians are like, yeah, he was amazing. Yeah, what he did.
Sure.
But if we like a jam session, yeah, but if we gave him some freaking like tabs or something, he would, not be able to do a damn thing.
Right.
So
interesting. Yeah.
Like I said, I can't think of anybody really.
Chadwick.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, to your point, it's like,
you could say he's a historical figure.
To anyone who maybe was departed too soon, it'd be cool to
any kind of like sickness, mental or physical, I think would possibly deserve a chance.
Right.
But yeah, that once again, that kind of goes. I think they're supposed to be fun questions, but you and I, we don't think like, ha 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 ha. Yeah, Winston Churchill. You know who I wanted to say.
I know. You want to say Hitler. You wanted to say.
Just so we could kill him again. But,
killed himself.
Yeah. Look, you can force the hand either physically or through situational. Okay? That's just, it is what it is. All right, so let's go into cloning just in general. So like the biggest elephant in the room of cloning is it an ethical thing to clone? Just in general. First off, it's just the general overall. Anything, is it ethical?
What does the basis of that conversation come down to? Is it because, like, from a religious perspective, is that what's stopping?
Some people, yeah, because it's like you're creating life in a way that's not natural.
Okay.
Which I can understand the thought process of that. And I can respect that that's certain people's opinion, and I don't have a problem with it. But to me, I'm like, not enough. Because if you want me to stop the discovery of knowledge, I need more than that's not natural.
If you're gonna believe in a God, right, and then if you think that your God, someone can be smarter, us, right, can be smarter and figure something out, like he wouldn't have put it here.
Yeah, no, I agree. That line of thought process.
If we're not able to do it, like we are able to manipulate anything in this physical realm, right? In any of this matter, it's here for us to play with. Like we are part of that. So like if you're thinking of it from that way, I don't think it's a problem. Yeah. All right. You do it. And then you know what? If we're not supposed to, he wouldn't allow us to. It's as simple as that. If you're thinking that way. Now, I personally don't think that's I think it's a fairy tale.
I don't think that's a roadblock in the slightest.
It's an excuse because people get scared that something's going to happen.
Right. I think that one is kind of like okay, we can move past that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The one that actually does start to get fuzzy, in my opinion, is when we're talking about human cloning, right?
Okay.
First off, I feel that a lot of people think of cloning like you walk into like a phone booth and then you walk out
photocopy
of a photocopy, and it's like, it's not necessarily how cloning works.
No, you're growing another person, like a baby.
Yeah, so it would
a baby of that person, right?
It would just have the same genetic code and grow into basically you physically.
Right.
Well, okay. Physically and
a version of you.
Mental, like, capability wise, but like can totally have a different personality. It's obviously going to have different life experiences.
Yep.
So that's where I think it kind of gets kind of fuzzy.
The way I look at it is this is what we said earlier. Twins. Like,
okay,
there are still things that look like people who look identical to other people, right? With identical twins. And that's an odd thing that we're mesmerized by, and they had been for years. And a certain group of people have experimented on them just to see, if there's any connections between the two or whatnot. We won't bring him up again. But but it's one of those
should not be named.
Should not be named. But it's one of those things that like it's kind of already a thing. It's but we're gonna artificially duplicate that, right?
Well, here's the question: it's like, what? Would there be a similarity between you and a clone and then two people that were twins?
You have to argue.
That's the question.
The number one thing is like this consciousness that is like,
right.
Because we don't know what this whole soul theory is, right? And like, is that a thing, right? We don't know it. And we're not going to know it until we try it.
So we do it.
So we should do it and figure that out.
Well, especially if you're talking about the whole soul thing, because if they start off with animals, and most religions feel that animals don't even have a freaking soul, so it wouldn't be the same thing as once again, it wouldn't be like
a lot of the Abrahamic religions.
Yeah. Well, now I know that we've cloned animals.
Yeah, like sheep, right?
Right.
Goat or something like that too. I don't know.
Goats. I know the original thing that they thought they cloned, technically they didn't actually clone.
They just like made another inseminated.
It was actually like a fertile like goat or sheep.
Sheep it was.
Oh gosh, now I can't remember the name, but yeah, it was a female thing, whatever.
Yeah.
But also we technically do use the finger quotes cloning technology for like small body parts, don't we?
Organs
like ears, and
you can
grow little things separately.
Grow an ear on the side of someone's face, and then like surgically, right, remove it and put it where it should be. I think that's a thing.
So now
they graft it and stuff.
I don't think that is a problem if they're doing it on the person that needs the part.
Sure.
Or they're doing it on a willing volunteer.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem. I think that's awesome.
It's like organ donating.
Right. It is. I think that's great. I think that's super cool. The part where it gets less fuzzy and more like, yeah, I think that's probably just wrong, is when you grow a clone because you need a heart transplant.
Yeah, that's where ethically...
That's where, like, I feel like ethics are going.
You grow a body just to harvest parts of it. Now, I guess the question is, can you do that, keep the body alive, but chemically induce like a coma, like make them like brain dead, essentially?
Oh,
where it's like, right, and you're just using the body and keeping that body alive. And
I was drinking a lot, so I need to get that liver real quick, buddy.
It's got to be a movie. I think that sounds so familiar, by the way.
Oh no, this is 100% like every movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the I never saw it. The Island. Ewan McGregor.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
When they find out that that's what happens when they win the lottery to go to the island.
Right.
Yeah. It's just that their actual person that they're a clone of now needs them, so they go to the island to get like murdered.
Right.
Isn't that what the
cool
thing
concept?
is?
Yeah.
No, it's a cool concept.
It was a decent movie, I thought. I mean, it was just because it was creative. So
I don't know. I never saw it. I think it was just like the way it was presented. I was too young and it looked scary. I don't know.
Maybe.
You know, I'm a wimp.
Yep, I do. I think that's where the gray area is.
Right. Because like obviously if it's a sentient being that has normal like human wants, needs, desires, dreams, you know, all those kind of things, then no, they can't be livestock. Like, not cool. You know? But what if the whole soul thing is like, oh, we are going into dark areas we're not supposed to. It did just show up as a vegetable.
Right.
Well, then it's like, okay, well, if it's just going to be a vegetable anyway.
Right. You might as well harvest it.
Might as well give me that heart, my dude. Like,
yeah.
I need a spare.
Right.
You know? Because let's face it, this is what's going to happen. The rich people are going to be able to do these things first, right?
Sure.
And then it's going to go to people that are like probably young emergencies, like kids. The reason why I say that is because it's much easier for somebody. Let me phrase that. It's much easier for the general populace to accept people doing something kind of like morally gray to save a child than to save one of us.
Sure.
Because it's for the children.
I think if technology gets to that point where this thing exists, there would be like an insurance policy that you would purchase, and basically it's
a whole new meaning to life insurance.
Right. Yeah. Literally a life. Like, you know, if you lose your child and they're under the age of this, then you get, you know, you can
a replace
your child.
That is freaking creepy.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level of like sci-fi movies.
Right.
Immediately I'm thinking about Halo.
Yeah.
That one's crazy because then they replaced them with defects intentionally so they would die.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could steal the regular one scot-free.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, I do think that, that would be a whole thing. I mean, why? That's the only reason to clone is for that reason, right? I mean, what's the purpose otherwise?
I think that's probably the only one that would be. Well,
it's for mourning a loss, and you would. You know,
okay. So let's say you can it depends on what you're actually cloning, what the cloning effects are. Okay, so if we cloned you, right, and it was like, okay, no matter what you do, this person's going to end up with your exact same personality, your exact same like level of knowledge, not the same experiences like or memories,
sure,
but the same level of knowledge and that. Taking a couple like Bill Gates, you know, like bringing a few of these people that have shown in the past to have a high level of intelligence and be able to really come up with some great resolutions for some issues, you know, get a little brain trust going with like 10 of them in a room.
Yeah.
Now, once again, would that be considered like indentured servant / slavery thing again? Because
Sure.
we're making them for a purpose that they have no choice in.
Yeah, they'd be living in a building and then cared for.
Test
Like,
subjects.
it's like a
The rats.
prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like the precogs from Minority Report,
Right.
where it's just like, against their will, not against their will. Is it for the greater good? Can you look past it? You know, all those kind of fun things. Yeah, because outside of for medical reasons, I don't think there's a strong enough reason for even thinking of end up doing cloning for humans.
Right.
For like animal livestock aspect, that's another issue that I mean, Pete was gonna say no regardless, but
Yeah, just
you know,
make another one.
well, and that's
Yeah, you could do that now, though. You do that biologically, you can still replicate. That's reproduction. That's the word,
Right.
reproduction.
no, and I get that. I think that, but here's where my example would go the other way. If they're able to simplistically set everything up to clone something, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it could be done faster and more efficiently, that could be a big deal.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the whole like,
Well, they're growing meat in laboratories now.
I've heard this.
Yeah. They grew a hamburger. It's like super expensive hamburger that they grew. Someone bought it and ate it.
Was it tasty?
I don't know. Wasn't me.
Did they say it was tasty?
Not sure.
Gotcha.
Didn't know if they used condiments or not. But yeah, no, that exists. So I mean, you can grow. They grow stuff like that. So that's
Yeah.
They grew the cells, right, and then it replicated in meat cells, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's weird. Muscle tissues.
Right. It is weird because there's already like beef, organic beef, free range grass fed beef, and then there's going to be cloned beef.
It's gonna be grown beef. Not homegrown, just grown.
Cloned beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Home cloned beef.
Once again, I think it does kind of depend on how like the finger quotes the way that cloning works, because
it'd be expensive.
Think about like the Star Wars version of cloning, right?
Yeah,
Like
the
what they
armies.
do on Camino. Well, I wasn't even thinking about the armies,
Oh,
where they're able to, or they also do this for Damon in certain series of Batman comics, where they're able to like age them up very quickly.
oh yeah.
Can't think of the right word. Sorry, but basically accelerate. Thank you. Accelerate their growth for like the beginning portion. So it's like instead of waiting 18 years old to get an 18-year-old kid, you'd wait like 2 or 3 years.
Right.
And then once they hit 18, then it would start going regular again. Like that type of aspect, like I didn't even think about the fact that obviously military applications, but yeah, that would be another game changer, right? Because now it's like, okay, we can clone this kid and then immediately, now they're like able to go from like ABC to like, you know, trigonometry.
Yeah. I think it's we wouldn't have to worry about population issue if you clone.
Well, I don't know.
What?
Couldn't it also be that then you just have a whole crap ton of clones?
You could, yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course.
They still got to eat.
Yeah.
So it could actually end up causing it to be the other way.
Yeah.
Too much instead of too little.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, eventually. Sure. It's just, we don't have a population issue as of now.
In the country, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it's just in the world, right? If you just look at the world, like we're not overpopulated. So
yeah, the only country that I'm aware of that is like freaking the heck out is just Japan.
yeah, it's not a lot of land there.
Well, no, the other way around. they're going to go extinct.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, on that side of things, sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot of countries. The birth rate is slowing down.
Japan actually has this new thing, totally off topic, sorry, but it's super interesting. Like, they're now paying people in not paying, that's the wrong word. They're now giving people like these abandoned like homes in the more rural areas. I think I actually said that word correctly for the first time in my life.
Rural.
That have just been abandoned because the family that lived there no longer exists.
Right.
Not because of any foul play or any bad stuff. It's just that, like, you know, they didn't have kids and they've passed. And they're trying to like rebuild these, because what's happening is like that's happened in some of these small communities slowly over time, that then like the younger generations have just moved into the major cities.
I don't want to,
and so there's like this huge ghost towns and stuff.
It's interesting. I don't really want to continue to go down this rabbit hole, but do you think that might have anything to do with the bombs that were dropped? No, you don't think that people are less fertile because of that?
No, I don't think it's that at all, because it's not that they're like trying to have kids and it's not happening. It's that,
I guess that's the question.
They're
is like
choosing not to have kids.
I know they're choosing not to, but I wonder if there is a fertility.
Not that I'm aware of.
Or just lifestyle.
I could be 100% wrong on that, but like not
Right.
that I'm aware of. That portion's never come up. It's just that it's going to go way into the weeds, but I'm not even going to go into that, because that would immediately make a whole new conversation that we'd want to talk about.
All right. Well, cloning.
We'll harvest that one later for an episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just thought that was interesting. As far as like population aspect though, I think that would be a potential problem, but I think one of the things that would prevent it probably from becoming a problem is like what you said, extremely expensive, you know, for the first, but okay, sorry.
I don't see it.
I'm contradicting myself a lot, because I'm thinking like, yeah, right now it would be like insane. It'd be like $1 million, but it's like a computer used to be the size of a small building, and now you can hold one in the palm of your hand. And it's just like, all right, so yeah, cloning's going to be crazy until like 2070, and then it's going to be like, yeah, it's like a Jack-in-a-Box. You just kind of walk into the place, you pick which kind of clone you want, and then you walk out with a new clone. Make sure you feed it twice a day.
I think the thing that would be interesting is not only would he have the ability to clone, but then we can genetically modify our clone. So it would be like, hey, I want a clone, but I want it to be a female version of me, not a male version of me. Like, what I'm saying is genetic manipulation.
Sorry, I went down a whole other path immediately. I'm like,
sure
oh, wow, that's some creepy junk, dude.
Yeah. But it's like you can just basically design your clone, right? Based upon the characteristics. Like, hey, you know what? I would rather be, I like me, but if I had this color eyes, or if I had, you know, if I was 3 inches taller, or whatever it is, like you can design
every short man's desire
yourself, right?
Right, like make your hero version of yourself,
right?
But my question to that though is like, well, what's the point? So now you can just stare at something that's better than yourself.
I don't know. Maybe if the point is.
Or it's like, or is it I'm going to make them and then I'm going to off myself because...
No, I think it would be like, maybe if it's like you want to perpetuate the genetic, like your family's genes, you know?
Oh, okay. Well,
like
it's kind of like my family. Technically, my family line dies with me. I have a daughter.
Yeah.
So my name.
Your name.
Sorry, my genetics don't, but my name.
Your name. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess like, okay, well, I need to clone myself to help the name continue on.
Sure.
That's I could see that
legacy, right?
Yeah, like if it's like, yeah, I'm on my deathbed, then they can, if you've chosen to donate your body to science, and they'll go ahead and clone you or something like that.
It's interesting. Just let it be.
Yeah.
Let bygones be bygones.
I don't know, man. The whole thing is really interesting. It's really cool in a certain regards, but also, I don't know, man. I feel like there's just so much that there's so many bad people, organizations, like trusts, groups, whatever you want to call them, that would abuse this.
Yeah.
Like how many, this sounds like I'm trying to talk shit. I don't mean it like this. How long until freaking there's an entire sweatshop that's filled with clones, like making our Nikes,
making your iPhones?
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even trying to be a smartass, but like that 100% would happen unless there was a law against it.
It'd happen eventually.
And there wouldn't be a law right away.
Sweatshops are against the law pretty much places anyway, but
it depends on where you live. That's where the sweatshop's located.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only productive form of cloning is if you're cloning organs and you're just be able to clone a particular organ, a certain tissue, grow it, right? Because if you have an injury or was shot or, like, or through the heart, like, well, you could just get a new one, Shot through the heart.
That's exactly what was in my head.
Too late.
The Bon Jovi?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I know. That's why I said it, because that phrase is in my mind from Bon Jovi.
Oh, that was so great.
But right?
Oh my gosh.
I think that'd be the advantage.
Oh, absolutely. I think that would be the only thing. Or like poor parents that, their kid gets like gunned down, or, wrong place, wrong time, gets hit by like a car or something like that. I mean, actually, I don't know, man. I don't know if
I don't like that.
Freaking replacement.
I wouldn't replace. It's the same thing you said about your animal. Like, same. Like, those are the experiences with that. You remember that.
I like how I immediately know I wouldn't want that for an animal.
Your cat, but you're like, but my kid.
I don't know.
I would never.
Kid the second. All right, sweet.
I would never be able to like stop thinking about like, yeah, but you're not the real one, but you look like one. Like, it'd be this weird type of like resentment, weird thing too. Like,
yeah, you're not the real John.
You're living in the shadow of the original.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
That's creepy. Yeah. All right, so let's say that the way that cloning works is that
it starts gaining in all your memories and all your experience.
So it basically just becomes like a part of you
as it grows. Right.
Yeah. So in that regard, by the way, this is 100% science fiction. I don't believe this shit would ever freaking happen.
No.
So this is now make believe thought processes.
What if you could just remove your brain and put it in the clone, and then the body, it's the vitality of it.
Oh, so you're saying like a tag in, tag out type thing?
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. I still like my version where like you learn via like osmosis.
But my version might be more
ethical.
No, not just ethical, practical. Like, it might actually be possible.
Do you think it's going to be possible to change your consciousness from one being to another?
It depends on what you think consciousness is. If it's just your brain and they can transplant your brain into the healthy body of a younger you.
Technically speaking, that would make sense. It would still be you, because I love how like people are like, this is me. And it's like, no, it's not.
No,
this
that's the
is
pump.
you.
That's the pump. That's the
your CPU is up here.
Yeah.
I haven't wanted to tell you this, but you're actually a clone of me.
Wow. So you did the genetic improvements then that we were talking about?
No, they wanted to see what would happen if they messed it up.
No.
They scrambled your egg a little bit more.
Right. And by chance, just everything got better.
Wow. Listen, you're the Danny DeVito in this situation, okay?
Okay. Got it.
I didn't say it before you said it to me. It's the only reason why I went there.
Yeah, twins, all right.
I still wanted to see the triplets with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, they were thinking about it.
That would have been hilarious. No, actually probably would have been crap.
It would have been a bad movie.
Because at that time frame, Eddie Murphy couldn't like get a single good script put in front of him.
Yeah.
So it would have ended up bad. But I digress. So if it was a situation like that style of cloning, would you want clones at that point of yourself? Obviously, no. Would you? How would I phrase this? All right, so this is going to sound really messed up, okay?
Go figure.
Okay. Well, you know how a lot of times, a lot of technology and or innovations are created for one of a few reasons.
Yeah.
And one of those is kind of messed up because it's like just straight up like sex.
Sure.
Right? Like
Blu-ray.
Yes. Was it Blu-ray or was it HD?
Blu-ray.
It was Blu-ray. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of porn.
Because of the porn industry.
Yes, 100%. Which, hey, whatevs.
Yeah. That's why Blu-ray won.
Yeah.
First HD.
Because they put porn on it.
Right. Because the porn industry went in that direction.
Yeah, 100%. It was like $1 million industry. Yeah. Money talks.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my question. Do you think
All the time.
that they would utilize cloning in the sense of cloning a desirable mate? Because I could
So cloning, so cloning would probably, as you said, like sweatshops, it'd be like this.
I want that one.
Yeah. Well, it would be like this, just the sex industry, like the sex slave.
Yeah.
Right.
Like human trafficking.
Human trafficking. Right.
Things like that.
Yeah.
It would be one of those things where, like, think about it. Anytime there's like some celebrity.
Yeah. Be designer. You can sell your.
I want a young Leo.
Celebrity, right?
Yeah.
You can sell your genetics so people can reproduce that image of you.
Dude, that's so sorry. I just went down a whole another freaking like path. I'm like, remember when Sylvester Stallone was like really like low on cash and had to do a porno, and then like, you know, like as he like then became like more famous like that, like he had to do all that stuff to get rid of it. What if instead of that he had to like go sell some of his DNA to be cloned, and then all of a sudden there's all these like, hey, how's it going? Like people walking around that people are utilizing just for like status.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there have been a lot of people who are down on their luck, celebrities, and struggling, and they've donated.
Oh, like sperm
bank stuff, yeah, and then I'm sure that they could have parts of them.
That's true
out
too.
there, out and about.
That's crazy, but like I said, like I feel like there's. All right, so there's a common like conversation trope. I don't know the right word right this second. Thought process, I guess, when it comes to like gaming, and then like anime type things, where if you want to know if a game is going to have like longevity and like there's going to be a strong community behind it, is by the amount of porn that's made about it.
Yeah, I heard about this actually. Oddly enough.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not even trying to be like, ha 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 ha. Like, this is an actual thing. Like, there was a huge, like, battle at one point between Overwatch and this game called Battleborn. Right? They were both very similar on surface level of, like, how the game was. The how the game played type situation. There was a lot of unique like character design type things and all this kind of stuff. And basically what it came down to is you could tell which one was going to end up doing better because which one was more popular. And the reason why one of them happened to be a little bit more popular was because of the aesthetic they chose for like the art style.
Yeah.
That was a little bit more provocative, I guess. Like, it doesn't do anything for me, so like it doesn't do
gets the people going.
Dance one song and one song only. Like I said, I don't know what the right word would be because to me, I'm just like, dude, it's just a 3D render of like a person. Like,
yeah, it was more sexualized.
Yeah,
sure.
And that was Overwatch. And like, yeah, what is it? Rule 32 or Rule 34 or whatever it is. Oh, dude. Okay, I don't remember what the rule number is.
I don't know the rules.
It's rule, and then it's two numbers. It's like 24, 34, I don't know, something like that. 42 maybe. If you type that and then anything, make sure safe search is off. Because you're gonna get,
put it on private mode.
Yeah, you're gonna get the basically the naked porn version of that thing you just typed in.
Wow.
Because it's an artist thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So like that aspect of cloning, I think, could popularize and then also be utilized in a negative way. But I think that would also probably, there'd be enough money in that there would be enough lobbying like through the governments to be able to then allow those types of things. I feel like cloning would probably become, if people were morally gray over the whole cloning situation and then they found out we can use this for sex, then all of a sudden you're going to start seeing laws going more towards in that favor if there's $1 billion industry behind it, you know?
Yeah, it will be a whole thing. I mean, it's interesting how long it will take to get to that point, though. I'm wondering. I guess that's because it's going to happen. Yeah. It's just when.
I mean, there was a... I love sometimes where my mind goes pop culture wise. There was that one episode of Futurama where Fry falls in love with the Lucy Liu robot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
It's a similar thing. Oh God. I just don't know. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
I've never understood the whole appeal of Lucy Liu.
No.
But once again, we digress.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel like cloning definitely on paper, like every other questionable idea, seems like a great idea as far as like, trying to help the current.
It's just,
but it's at the expense of these things that you'd have to deem them almost non-human.
At what point do you do science just to see if you can do it? And I think that's kind of what it is. Like, people just want to push the boundaries and
okay, Mr. Frankenstein.
Yeah, but explore it. That's exactly what it is. It's just, can we do it? I don't know. Let's try it.
Yeah.
That's, so what? Do it.
I remember. Okay. There was something that just recently happened scientifically with some rats. Do you remember what it was? No. It was like a big deal.
Don't know. They grew an ear on the back of a rat or something.
Oh, I remember that. Maybe it was they cured cancer in a rat. I don't know.
Yeah, that did happen too.
That happened, right? That was recent.
Yeah.
Well, see, okay. So the reason why I bring that up is that it's the the timeline aspect of it.
Cloned rats before.
Oh yeah, they 100% have. Yeah. It's one thing when it's like you're cloning something that we deem as a subspecies to us, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think that we would, if we were going to start cloning people, that clones, just because it'd be easier for some people to digest, would be considered subhuman?
At first. Yeah.
So there would be a hugely marginalized aspect because they would be a clone.
Yeah, there'd have to be a way to identify or label them as, if they're gonna be around and walk.
Blade Runner is all about, like the replicants or something.
Yeah,
I never saw any of those things.
I think so.
It's just too old.
Yeah, I mean they had the second one too, so that one's more modern.
Yeah.
Gosling's in it. Yeah,
I know. So is Jared Leto, and apparently he's like the perfect like version of, when Jared Leto has like a role that fits him.
Yeah.
How he's like amazing. I've heard that he's amazing.
Sure.
No interest.
Yeah, it's a cool story and stuff.
I think it's just because I never saw the first one.
Yeah. There's a whole cult following there.
Yeah. There's like 20 different freaking versions of it.
Yeah. I think that it's gonna happen. They will have to, as far as identification and whatnot, like, you know, that's gonna be a whole thing.
How
Are
would that
they tattooed? Are they chipped?
Because
Are
yeah.
they- I mean, it's
I know, I'm with you. I 100%. I know. It's just because it's like chipped like a dog.
yeah.
Because they couldn't do a retina scan or a vocal scan or like fingerprints, because those would all be identical to the person they were cloned from.
Yeah.
That is crazy. They would have to add in some sort of defect to be able to
Yeah.
be different.
A brand or a birthmark.
Ooh.
Yep.
Well, I mean, birthmarks technically are just brands. They would probably just hide it.
Or would
They all have little barcodes in the back of their neck like Hitman.
right? Would they make it so the clones can't reproduce, so they'd be sterile?
Interesting.
Because that's how you really lose control.
No, you know how you really lose control is that you do what you said earlier, where you get a clone of yourself that's the opposite gender, and then you reproduce with yourself. That's how you get some hillbilly
sounds
stuff.
like a country song. Yeah. I think my clone is sexy. Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
How to bone your clone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
At that point, would it be considered masturbating or?
If you have your clone wank you, is that masturbation?
Okay, if your clone,
Is it cheating?
that's what I was about to say. If you have sex with your clone, is it cheating on a significant other because you're just pleasuring yourself? If you have sex with your significant other's clone, is it considered cheating? Because technically you're still with them.
If someone has a twin sister and you're doing that,
There's two totally separate people. It's different. They have different names.
well, what if they have the same name?
Because they're the same body.
Yeah.
Like Anakin and Darth Vader.
But
it's the same freaking person.
You can argue the clone. You can argue that even if it's a clone's body, it is a different body.
Well, you could also say that obviously when it's a clone, is they could both be standing next to each other and having a conversation with one another. Unlike Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader, because they are the same person.
No. Because when we become the ghost Anakin, he looks completely different. He's a different person.
Okay,
completely different actor.
First off, you just lost all credibility that you're utilizing a special edition version.
It exists.
Wow.
It exists. Don't blame me.
Okay. Well, you just lost all your street cred.
Blame Lucas.
By calling that one as the actual official canon.
He's the guy who made it.
Anyway, moving on.
The man made it.
But yeah, as far as the overall, if I was going to put like a little bow on this, and kick it out, I would say that while I think we should continue the development of the technology, I don't necessarily think we should actually use it once we get there. I think we need to have it as an option, but I don't think it should be like a privatized, like people can just clone them. I think it should be like a figure out a way where you could clone a human being 100%. Cool. Now that you figure that out, now let's figure out how we can better like make a grouping of legs. You know what I mean? Like let's just individual body part it. Don't.
I think if you're just cloning food, like vegetables and that kind of thing, and as we said, like livestock and whatnot, like nothing wrong with that. When you start cloning people, I don't know. It really depends on what you believe, like morally, and like
I think the moral / religious aspect of this is probably the most
because
important.
If you don't believe that stuff, then what the heck does it matter? It's just another being, another body that looks the same as.
Yes, but if you consider that, it really comes down to then also, okay, once we get past your religional aspects,
sure,
then it's the social dynamic aspect of, is this creature equal, greater than, or less than, right? Because that depends on how we're supposed to be able to treat them. Because let's be honest, we love our animals, and some people treat them better than they treat humans, some equal, and some worse. So knowing where a clone would stand in that like diagram, it would actually be very important.
I think it would matter how it's created. So meaning if it's like born as a baby and then has to grow up and then be taken care of, and there you're getting like, you're raising this thing. It's like there's an attachment that someone could form to
Right.
these two. That's right.
Which is why I think we do that with animals
Which
as well.
is the human component of it all, right? Now, if it's just like you walk into this thing and bing, you know, open the microwave door, and then it's like another one of you walks out fully clothed, like, hey,
We're
what's
in the
up?
same
Hey,
outfit.
how are you doing? Right? Like that whole, it's like, well, then that maybe,
Well,
yes.
nice to meet you, but I guess I got to go to your job.
Right. Exactly. So I don't know. I think that would play into it a little bit. So
had a funny joke in my head. Sorry. Okay. So any final thoughts before we close out on the clones?
nope,
Cool.
nothing, nada. See multiplicity. That's my final thought. So
There you go.
there it is.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed our conversation today on cloning. It's a interesting topic that is fun to think about, but it's definitely a morality quagmire.
Yeah.
Because there's no simplistic answer one way or the other. I don't think.
Yeah, it depends on what you believe, where you stand there.
So, but if you want to join us again for the same style but different topic, make sure you check us out next time. We will be talking about, oh gosh, I forgot what is our topic for next week. I had it open and then I closed it. Oh yeah, that's right. So next week we'll be talking about cancel culture, which ought to be interesting.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah. Would you be canceled if you had a clone?
No.
Would you be canceled if you had a clone that you genetically engineered to be a different sex and then you married it?
No, I think that'd be okay, actually.
I think that
nowadays it's fine.
that would just get you a reality TV show.
Yeah. That's it.
But if you were concerned about what their pronouns would be, you could get definitely canceled.
You will be canceled for that. Yeah.
But anyway, check us out next time when we talk about that and get ourselves in trouble. And then if you want to check out some of the other stuff we have over at youtube.com/@Venti Questions, make sure you go there, hit some likes, hit some comments up. In the meantime of saying what you think about cloning, whether or not we should be cloning animals, humans, or none of it, or all of it, let us know. And other than that, that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope.
Go.
That's it.
Well, we will see you next time.
See multiplicity.